Hello, 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 hello. Welcome to our final day of our self love in relationship challenge. We made it. It is day 10. It has been, for me at least, such an exciting, powerful challenge. Every day we have talked about and really worked to embody, I believe, different practices to really nurture our self love in relationship. And I know for me, this has been just even a new concept that there's a difference in a way of self-love on your own and self-love in relationship. I didn't even really know this was a thing before we started doing this. So this is all new learning to me, huge expansions for me. Good morning, my amazing sister Jamie, who has just been such a rock to me in being here in all these challenges and streams, and just so grateful to you, dearest Jamie in beautiful Louisiana. How's everything going in Louisiana? I know you have some exciting new housing and lots of kittens and amazing. So so it's so exciting. We are on day 10. On day 10. It's great. It's great. And really, it's day 20 because before we did this self-love in relationship challenge, we did just a self-love challenge, just self-love somewhat outside of relationship. So for those of you who have been following along, wow, congratulations. We have done 20 days of self-love. Good morning, dearest Lisa. I'm so glad you're here. So 20 days of self-love. How is it feeling? What a beautiful self-love practice we've all been doing to show up to these self-love challenges. That alone seems like an amazing self-love practice that we are taking time out of. I know everyone is so busy, out of our busy schedule to come together and talk about self-love. So I'm just want to honor all of you for showing up and making self-love a priority in your life. Amazing. How awesome is that? How does it feel in your body when we really are aware of that, wow, I am making self-love a priority in my life? I know for me, when I really embody that, it feels really great. I'm so glad that I am making self-love a priority in my life. We've said throughout these challenges that for me at least, the practice of self-love, and really as a daily practice, really as a moment-to-moment practice, I really believe can be one of the most powerful transformative tools in your toolkit. So I keep saying I don't think self-love can be overemphasized, how transformative it is, how great it feels internally, and then how our external world shifts. One of our dear members of the You Are Your Own Hero Patreon community, and who has been here on these challenges, shared a few days ago that she has experienced miracles externally in relationships with 3 people without having to do anything, with simply doing her own inner work around self-love. Isn't that amazing? And this has been my experience. In the beginning of the challenge, I mentioned this, amazing book that changed my life. The name of the book is Love Yourself Like Your Life Depends on It. And in this book, the author talks about being very, very ill, really being on his deathbed, And somehow, I believe spirit came to him and he started saying self-love affirmations. Just, I love you. I love you. I love you. I love you. His illness completely healed, and he went on to experience so many different miracles. And this has been my experience as well. I started my self-love practice about 6 years ago when I was at the very nadir, the very worst depth of, I would say, my dark night of the soul, when everything seemed hopeless and I really wanted to jump out of my life. And this beautiful book, Love Yourself Like Your Life Depends on It, came to me. I believe it was a gift from spirit to help me, and it changed my life. So self-love absolutely changed my life, saved my life, and it continues, I would say, to bring me so many gifts and to just be my North Star, my guiding light, my compass in my life. I know when I start to feel not quite aligned, I know that I'm likely out of self-love. So the perks of self-love are numerous, and I hope that you are experiencing them. So, so glad everyone is here. This is our last day, so I'm so glad that so many of us have come together. It looks like my mom is here, and Lisa and Jamie and my dear friend Gretchen and some other folks that I can't read all the names in the different groups, but I know you're here and I'm so grateful that you're here. So what do you think about just starting with giving ourselves a number of our self-love outside of relationship and our self-love in relationship? We did this about a week ago. And it might just be fun to see if there's any shifts in our numbers after all of our practices over these weeks. So I have shared that a week ago, when we gave ourselves the numbers, I felt I was at about an 8.5 from 1 to 10 of self-love just on my own outside of relationship, and about a 5.5, quite a bit lower, in self-love in relationship. And I think my numbers have shifted upwards. I think I could say, honestly, that I'm about a 9 in self-love on my own, and in relationship, at least a 7, maybe an 8. I think I can go to an 8. I think I'm at an 8. Yeah, so it's still a little lower, but it has increased, and this challenge that we've been doing together, and everyone's support and us coming together, has helped me so much. So if you feel like joining in on the numbers game, let me know what your numbers are. It's not important, and it's okay if whatever the numbers are, it's perfect. This is not meant to criticize us in any way, just sort of a fun way to see where we are possibly. So we have a really great practice for our day 10 practice. I'm so excited to get to it. And before we do, I'll just briefly summarize the 9 practices we have done so far. And I'm so curious if one of these practices or multiple ones have really hit home for you. I know some of them, especially the ones that are more new for me, these are the ones that I'm really excited about, because it's kind of these aha light bulb moments with some of these practices for me. Almost like, oh, why didn't I know that before? That feels really important. And I'm so glad that now I have remembered this practice. Okay, so day 1, last week, we started out with fearless, radical commitment to your own happiness. Oh my goodness. Doesn't that feel good? I can be fearlessly, radically committed to my own happiness. It didn't feel that way for most of my life. For most of my life, I felt that I was supposed to please everyone around me. And so this this new understanding that I am fearlessly, radically committed to my own happiness, sign me up. Woohoo! That feels great. I am so on board. Day 2, the practice is you and only you are responsible for your life and happiness. Oh, I'm in the driver's seat. I'm the creator of my life. I'm responsible. I'm able. I'm accountable for my own happiness and my own life. Awesome. I like that too. I like that too. I am the creator of my life and my happiness. Amazing. And I just want to pause. Gretchen is sharing her amazing numbers. 8s all around. Though I do sometimes go lower a couple times during the day due to challenging interactions. This is awesome. Awesome. 8s all around. Fantastic. How exciting. And Gretchen shares, Spirit is giving me some practice. Yes. It's all practice, right? It's all a dojo. We've been saying this all throughout the challenge, that relationships are dojos. They are training grounds. They are the vessels for our expansion. They are the vessels to help us go into deeper self-love, as well as so many other energies. So it's great. Our challenging relationships in particular are such amazing teachers to us. So even in the depth of the pain and possible suffering of relationship at times, there is so much to learn. And we are constantly being invited to go deeper into self-love, for instance. So amazing. And a super warm hello to my dear sister, Deborah, who is here, and my dear sister, Johanna, who is here. I'm so glad all you amazing people are in the house. I love you. I love being with all of you every day. It's been amazing. Okay, then day 3, fearless, radical commitment to your human's needs. How does that feel? Commitment to my needs? I like the sound of that. I like the sound of that. That feels different to me. I feel that I was socialized to turn away from my own needs. And I think, especially for women, there is very dense programming that our value is based on how we serve others as mothers, as wives, as professionals. So, what a great concept. What a great remembering that, oh, actually, I am number one committed to my own needs. Sign me up. I'm on board. Okay. And then day 4, the practice was the relationship is in each moment. Oh, I love this one. I used to be under the illusion that my happiness is when something happens, when I get married, when I have kids, when I finish my PhD, when. It's somewhere in the future. And I was under the same illusion in my relationship. Oh, well, things will be good in the relationship when one of us has healed something, when something happens, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. No, that is not my understanding at this point. Our life is right now. We can choose to be happy right now. Our relationship is also right now. How we move through everything in our relationship is the relationship. How we manage conflict, how we manage discomfort with each other, that's the relationship. The relationship is happening every moment, not when something else happens. Okay. And then we spent, and then day 5, the practice was love is a verb. Love is a verb. And we're basically going to talk a lot more about this today as well. And then we spent 3 exciting days on one of my favorite topics. And this is fearless, radical commitment to healthy communication. I say this all the time. My PhD is in marriage and family therapy. I have spent a decade working with couples. And time and time again, it is very clear that what makes or breaks a relationship is the communication. So, this cannot be overemphasized how vital, how foundational healthy communication is. And two of the main topics that I think really resonated for all of us were active listening, a game changer, active listening, meaning one person talks, the other person is silent and listens and repeats back. And then we switch. It's so simple. But it's easy. It's easy to fall out of active listening. Most of us haven't been taught active listening. I know for me, I probably learned it maybe 20 years ago, but I wish I had learned it much earlier. And then another aspect of healthy communication that I think really resonated for all of us was vulnerability. Vulnerability. How does that word land in your body? Is it a little scary? How does it feel? I know for me, at times it can feel scary because some of the associations with vulnerability is I might get hurt. Vulnerable, right? I'm putting myself out there, putting my neck on the line. I'm being vulnerable. I'm being really honest. I'm being really authentic. I'm being really open-hearted. What if I get hurt? So, and I shared that for me, where I've landed on all of this with vulnerability is I am most committed to showing up in the best way that I can in my life. And to me, that means to be open-hearted, to be vulnerable, to give my relationships the best shot possible. If I'm close-hearted, if I'm not sharing, if I'm not really honest, wearing my heart on my sleeves, then I'm hiding. Then I'm acting from fear, and I'm not able to give my relationship the best shot. So I may get hurt. I may very well get hurt, but I make peace with that. I would rather get hurt than live in fear. I would rather get hurt than not show up in my best, most courageous self. So I'm not going to play it safe in any area of my life. I'm not going to hide. I'm not going to play it safe. I'm going to go all in everything that I do. And I'm going to show up in my highest and best. And then whatever happens, happens. I'm not in control of it. But I know that I have inner peace and gratitude towards myself that I'm doing my best. I'm doing the best that I can. Okay. And then the last practice we did, this was yesterday, was radical ownership and accountability for each partner. And this is really juicy for me because this is a bit of a new practice for me to really be aware of this. So first of all, what this means is being really mindful and discerning about what is my stuff, what is my shadow, what are my stories, what are my wounds, what's my inner work that is on my plate. And then what is my partner's stuff, their stories, their shadow, their wounds, their fears, their illusions. And then what is ours together that we need to talk about and harmonize. And along with this is the beautiful adage that we've all heard: we are not responsible for other people's feelings. Okay, this doesn't mean that we speak abrasively or not in a loving way. We always try to, of course, share our perspectives, our thoughts, our feelings from the most loving way that we can. But even when we are the most loving that we can, and we have absolutely benevolent intentions, sometimes our truth will land in for our partner or whomever we are in relationship with in a way that is triggering to them and in a way that brings up really painful feelings. And we talked about yesterday uh, this orientation of tiptoeing or walking on eggshells. And I know that has been a really default orientation for me throughout my life. Very, very present to tiptoe, to walk on eggshells, not wanting to rock the boat, not wanting to upset people, uh, somewhat from a fear of abandonment. So we are all being called now to release that type of energy and to really understand that the truth always serves all in the long run. And the truth is what sits with you over time. It's not maybe how you feel immediately. If you have been triggered, you want to just feel all those feelings. And when you have come back to a calm, peaceful, grounded space, if there's a certain truth that remains that feels important to communicate with anyone you're in relationship with, then we are being called to do so. And this is taking ownership and accountability on your own end to deliver truth as it is being called for. And we talked about yesterday as light workers. I know for me, I love to give love. That's my favorite thing. I just want to walk around and give love to everybody. Makes me so happy. But part of shining our light is shining our truth. I believe we are all here to speak the truth, and to not do so can enable behavior that is not highest and best. So again, we're talking about relationship as a dojo, relationship as a vessel for each person's expansion. And part of the beautiful interplay in relationship is to give feedback, is to shine light for each other, because we all have blind spots. We all have unconscious habits, behaviors, patterns that we often are not even fully aware of. So it is a beautiful gift in relationship to shine this light for each other. Yes, it can be uncomfortable. Yes, it can. But in the end, we all know that uncomfortable situations in the end, if we move through them, often bring us the greatest gifts. So true. Okay. So now today, day 10, we made it to day 10. And let me know all those practices that we just summarized, if any of them were particularly resonant for you, or how you feel about any of them. I would love to hear. Okay, so day 10, our practice today, and this is new, is this quite new for me, so it's very exciting. Fearless, radical, paying attention to how you are being treated in your relationship. I wasn't really paying attention so much to how I have been treated in my relationships throughout my life. I think this had to do with experiences as a child. And I think I have been very, very focused on how I can show up for others, how I can please others, and how I can keep the relationship going. Really feeling, I would say, like a caretaker of the relationship, and really feeling as if I am responsible for the relationship, somewhat just me on my own. Almost as if the other person is just a passenger. I'm driving the car, I'm in charge of the relationship, and the other person can just take a nap and eat snacks while I do the hard work. That has been my default orientation. It has a lot to do with my childhood. So at this point, I kind of feel like it's hard for me to understand why I did not get this before, why I did not remember this truth, but I didn't. So here I am now. Now I remember that it's really important to pay attention to how I am being treated, how my partner is showing up for me in action, in behavior. And I'm really curious how you all feel about this. I can be really taken in by words. I would say I can be a sucker for compliments and, saying sweet things to me, saying loving things to me. I just, in the love languages, I believe that would be under the category of words of affirmation, saying nice things. I'm not exactly sure why, but I just really, I really fall for that. It's really easy for me to feel, oh, I'm being loved because my partner is saying loving things to me. And that I really understand now is only part of the picture. And I think part of why this has been a challenge for me is growing up, people would say, I love you to me. But their actions were not necessarily loving. And I think this created some confusion for me. And I think I thought that love rested in words and not necessarily in actions. So this was a mislearning for me that I'm still releasing. I'm still releasing this mislearning. So I'm really curious what your experience has been with this, how you orient towards loving words versus actual loving actions, and how this lands for you. Um, and what I want to say here is I like this word audit or inventory. If it feels resonant right now in your partnership or in any relationship, if you really look at how the other person is actually behaving towards you beyond what they say, what are they actually doing? What are they actually showing you? What do you see? What do you see? What do you see in their actual actions, their actual showing up? What do you see there? I'm really curious if anyone wants to share. And when I think about this in relationship, yeah, it's very illuminating to me. It's really, really, really illuminating when I really look at it. It's a bit sobering, I would say. And then another aspect of this is you can consider it a litmus test. What are you showing the people around you in your relationship? So I'm just going to give an example here. I had a very difficult conversation with someone that I'm in very close relationship on a Zoom call a couple of months ago. And I had this conversation. It was in my bedroom on my computer. And I have a pretty small house. And after I came out of my bedroom, I had ended the Zoom call. My son was in the kitchen, which is right next to my bedroom. And my son was crying. And this was really, really painful. And he was crying because he overheard the Zoom call, and he was crying because of how he heard me being treated by this other person on the Zoom call. And I could almost cry right now. This was so heartbreaking to me. First of all, that my son heard this really difficult conversation and that it affected him so much and that he was crying. I just felt so sad that he was sad. And then it brought up a lot for me. Why was I staying in that conversation? Why was I allowing myself to be treated in that way? what was happening in that conversation for me. Did I basically go unconscious? And so I ended up crying with my son for many minutes. We were hugging and crying, um, and it was very intense. And it was really a crossroads moment for me to really see that I'm not always acting in highest and best towards myself in my interactions with other people. And when I really tuned in to what was happening for me, I think I was experiencing a fear of abandonment and trying to stay in the conversation, hoping that it might turn, hoping that I could do something to bring back peace and harmony and stability in this particular relationship. And it really taught me that no, I can't. If the other person is in a certain consciousness and maybe lashing out, maybe very triggered, maybe angry, there's nothing we can do at that point. There's nothing. The only thing we can do is graciously exit the conversation. So that has been a huge new practice for me. And this was the day 10 practice of our self-love challenge. Was I only participate in loving interactions. And that experience with my son was how I really, really, really had a deep initiation into that. I never wanted I do not ever want my son to have that experience again. So this has been a great litmus test for me to see how my relationships are landing for the people around me and what they are seeing and what they are experiencing. So their feedback is really helpful because we all have blind spots and we all may go unconscious, or we may act out of fear. As I mentioned, this fear of abandonment, for instance. So that experience with my son was really helpful, really, really, really helpful. And another experience actually around my son too, in the same vein, is in a relationship that I have, a close relationship that I have. At times it feels very unstable. And there's sometimes a lot of texting. And I notice around my son, I want to be present for him. I don't want to be on my phone. But I notice that at times I feel drawn to responding to this person because at times it feels so unstable. And then I'm not present for my son. And so this also is showing me clearly what's going on, that I don't feel secure in this particular relationship. And look how I'm not present with my own son because I'm responding to these texts. And what is that showing me about the relationship? It's showing me there's a baseline of insecurity that really needs to be honored and looked at. And how do I want to orient around that? So that as well has been really helpful. So my son, my children have really helped me see very clearly a lot of my own orientations in relationship that are not serving me, and have really helped me come back to how do I want to be treated? How do I want to feel in my primary relationships? So let me know how this is landing for you. Do you have similar experiences with your children or other close people in your life? It could be friends, family members, coworkers. Do you see them giving you some feedback, shining some light on what they see in your relationships, and what is that teaching you? How is that helping you in having really clear eyes around how you are being treated? What we're really talking about is removing any rose-colored glasses. around the truth about how we are actually being interacted with. So, just really getting down to the possible brutal truth of what is actually happening. So important. This is really a primary practice of inner truth. What is the actual truth of what is happening here, without sugarcoating it, without rationalizing, without saying things like, oh, my partner, he's going through a hard time. Oh, he was just in a bad mood, or he or she. What is the actual truth? What is the truth? And really, really looking at that and really using that as the guidepost of, well, how do I need to move forward with this truth? And another guiding principle here for me is this practice of, at any moment, I am willing to let go of my partnership, of any relationship, at any moment. At any moment. It's this loose, somewhat non-attached, fluid. I'm going with the flow. I am number one committed to my own happiness, my own peace, my own joy, my own honoring of myself. And if my primary partnership is not contributing to that, or any relationship that I am in, or any circumstance in my life, I am willing and able to let it go at any moment. So we're all familiar with the very typical marriage vow, till death do us part. So this is the opposite of that. This is our relationship is a moment to moment commitment. And if it's not serving one or both of us, we let it go. And of course, this doesn't mean that we just immediately let things go if there's any hint of conflict or dis-ease, but it just means we hold on loosely. We are not tied into necessarily any particular outcome. We are open to what life brings us, and we are committed to ourselves. Whatever happens on the external is icing on the cake, and at any moment, if it serves the highest and best, we can let go of anything that is not serving us. So let me know how this is all landing. I'm really curious how you all feel about this. And I'm really curious if anyone feels like sharing when you look at any relationship in your life and you really are really truthful and you're really looking at, how is this person truly showing up for me? And what do you see? And I'm just going to share another real life example. So I have a family member who it has been a very challenging relationship for most of my life. And I have felt hurt quite a bit. But when I actually look at how this person is showing up for me, this person really shows up for me a lot when I really look at their actions. And this is the first time I'm really, really looking at this in this way, actually. I'm really glad that we have this practice today. Because this person sometimes can say really, really hurtful things and lots of other things. But actually, this person shows up for me a lot in their actions and behavior. So yeah, this is a bit of an aha moment for me. I'm seeing that this person's actions are quite loving. So that is really interesting to me. Let me know if you have any similar experiences with people that you are in relationship with. And let me know at this point any practices that you might share in the self love in relationship. What have we missed? I'm sure there are likely an infinite number of practices that we could include here. And I'm really curious if there's anything that you would like to share about self love and relationship practices that are really dear to you. And Gretchen, thank you so much for your comment. My daughter shared her truth with a close friend of mine, and he vanished into thin air. Ah, yeah. So that is a really intense experience. Sometimes when we share our truth, things fall away. How are you all feeling about that at this point in time? Now there's been some passage of time around that. How is that landing for both of you now that you shared a truth and the relationship, at least at this point, has fallen away? And what would it have felt like not to share that truth? And how would that have sat with you all? Does it seem in the highest and best that you did share the truth, and what has happened has happened? How do you make sense of all of that now? Yeah, it's intense sharing the truth. It's really, really intense. And it's so interesting because when we really come back, I think, to our heart minds and we think about, should I share the truth? To our heart mind, to our God self, I think it feels very natural to speak the truth. When we think of children, they always speak the truth, right? Until a certain age. But I think part of the reason that we enjoy children so much is they're so truthful and they don't seem to worry about societal constructs and how what they express may be received. They're very open, they're very free, they're very authentic and truthful. So I do believe it is our natural state to be very truthful, to be very transparent. And as we always talk about, when we are truthful, we don't have inner conflict. I know for me, if I'm holding a truth, but my thinking mind is concerned about speaking the truth, there is a bit of a battle inside of me about sharing the truth. And this is so uncomfortable. And I've said this before, my number one priority in my life at this point is my own inner peace and joy. And what do I need to do? I and only I am responsible for my life and happiness. So, what do I need to do to maintain my inner peace and joy? And part of that is speaking the truth if it feels appropriate, and of course, in the most benevolent way. And that's how I maintain my inner peace and joy. And I do believe very strongly that dis-ease is often correlated with energies that we hold inside of us, including the energy I just talked about, this sort of inner frustration, inner conflict, inner dis-ease, right? Inner dis-ease can be a match for outer disease. Yes. Okay. We have another really interesting comment here. Deborah says, Dr. Tassel, you have put into sharp relief how self-love is nearly impossible unless we believe our truth and know that even if we share it, it may not resonate and may be rejected by the other person. Yes. So when we share it, it should not be for validation necessarily. It is such an opportunity to embrace it for ourselves. Drop the mic, sister. Yep, 100%. 100%. We are not sharing truth for validation. We're not doing anything for validation. We validate ourselves. We are inner partners with ourselves. We have inner solidarity. We our life is really just between us and spirit. Whatever anyone else thinks is their issue. We are here to live in our truth, to bring through our life purpose and our dreams for our lives. So yes, when we share, we are not looking for validation. We already have the validation. We already trust ourselves. We already practice self-love, self-respect, self-honoring. Whatever is arising in me, whatever I know is really my truth, I validate it. I know it is my truth. We do not need external validation for anything. Yeah, and often when we share our truth, it will be rejected. It might trigger someone. We might receive uncomfortable feedback. That's okay. Yes, we are sharing the truth to live in our own authenticity. We are sharing the truth to be our true selves and to maintain our inner peace. It's for us. Speaking the truth is for us. And it in the long run does serve all. So it is a service as well, but it starts with being a service to us. So yes, you make amazing points here, Deborah, and I'm in total agreement. And what you're really focusing on is one of the main foundations of our entire self-love revolution. And again, that is this radical, radical self-honoring self-trust. This is where self-love really grows. This is where self-love is really nurtured. When we have a radical self-respect, self-trust of ourselves. This means everything that is within me, I honor. This means my feelings, the uncomfortable feelings, the comfortable feelings. This means my dreams. This means my guidance. This means my truth. This means my red flags. All of it. All of it. I honor, I honor, I honor. All of it. I am sovereign. I am the boss of my life. I may look outside of myself for advice or suggestions, but I always run everything through myself, through my own guidance system. So this is all part of the self-love is self-trust. I trust myself. I trust myself. I trust what I feel. I trust my dreams. I trust my values. I trust my guidance. I trust myself. Yes, great, great points. So let me know how all of this is landing for you all. It is so exciting that we have made it to day 10. It has been such a blast. And again, if anyone wants to share a practice from this challenge, self-love and relationship, or the first challenge that we did, self-love on our own, let me know which practices are landing for you, which resonate with you, and any experiences that you've been having over the course of these 20 days. How are you feeling inside of yourself? What is happening in your external world? I'd love to hear. I've been saying all along that for me, I am just feeling more and more whole, more and more at peace, more and more secure in myself, more and more sovereign. I would say more and more independent. I love having relationships, and I think they give us so much. But I feel very much that I don't need a relationship. I enjoy them, and I think they add a lot to my life. But all I really need, I have within me. I've got my guidance. I've got my dreams. I've got my feelings. I've got my preferences. It's all right here. Uh, so let me know how that is all feeling for you. And I just want to share that over the course of these 20 days, so many really amazing career opportunities have, excuse me, been coming in to me. And I absolutely believe it has a lot to do with me deepening my self love. I think as I deepen my self love, as I embody my self love, the external shifts. That's what my experience has been. And if anyone wants to share, I'd love to hear yours. So, yeah, so we did it. Congratulations. We made it through 20 days of self love and self love in relationship. And I just want to honor everyone who has been on this, to me, really amazing journey. And this is all part of our self love revolution. I'm in the middle right now of planning a self love summit, self love retreat. I'm going to be interviewing at least 10 of the nation's top self love masters, experts, and it's going to be a free event. Probably might be over a weekend, or it might be during the week, but maybe about 3 days. And so I'm in the middle of planning that. It's going to be really exciting. I'm going to be talking to some absolutely amazing people who are going to be sharing their own experience of self-love and their practices. And I think it's going to just give us more and more illumination on this beautiful practice of self-love. And I'm also in the middle of planning basically a self-love revolution tour. I would like to come to a city near you, and we can all do this together, but have in-person self-love events, weekend retreats. And it's going to be so much fun. I'm also in the process of having self-love revolution t-shirts made. So much is happening. And I'm still thinking about what to do next. I'm really interested in doing a self-love love your body, basically, challenge. That may be the next one that we're going to do. I hope that sounds resonant for you. Love your body. Love your body. This is really important. We are in this body 24/7 on earth, right? This is our vessel. We're in it all the time. So how delightful to really love our body, to really feel comfortable in our body, all of it. Thank you, Lisa, for the beautiful comment. I'll be rewatching the whole shebang. Great. Yeah. So all of the videos are on the YouTube channel. That might be the easiest place to see them. They're all there on our You Are Your Own Hero YouTube channel. And the address of that is youtube.com/You Are Your Own Hero, all one word. So all of these videos are right on there. Gretchen says, I experienced a beautiful stretch assignment career opportunity that fell into my lap, but I had to be aware enough to say yes. Oh, amazing. So a great career opportunity for you. I love it. Yeah, that's been happening for me over these past couple weeks too. I just think it's so magical to see the external shifts. You don't have to do anything. It's just your internal energy is changing, and then you're just a match for different things. But I said this last night on our Patreon meeting. I said the inner investment reaps outer rewards. So much of of what we're understanding about how the universe works is it's your energy. It's your energy. It's not necessarily the actions you take in your life that bring changes. Of course, you do need to take some actions, but it starts with your energy. It starts with your energy. So thank you all so much. It's bittersweet for me. I've loved these 10-day challenges so much, and I will post on our Facebook group what we're doing next week. I'm still sort of thinking about that, seeing what Spirit is asking me to do. But we will keep doing really exciting things. And so much love to you. Let's see, there's another great comment here. Self-love summit and weekend retreats and love your body. My heart is dancing. Oh, and I can't see the name of who said that. If you want to just type in your name, I'd love to know who this is. On the chat that I have, it isn't able to show all the names depending on where you're coming in from. But I'm so glad that sounds great to you. Me too. Self-love summit, sign me up. Weekend retreats, sign me up. Love your body, I'm in. Yes, I agree. They all sound really fun. I would love, oh, it's Christina. Yay. Thank you, Christina. I'm so glad that sounds resonant for you. Yeah, it'd be so great to see everybody in person. This is lovely. I can feel everyone's energy and I love it. But I also really long to see everybody face to face, to hug, to come together, to dance together, to do all sorts of fun things. So thank you all so much. It has been an honor and a privilege to be with you. I'm so grateful for all of you. You are all amazing. You're all beautiful self-love ambassadors of so many different gifts. Thank you all so much for your presence on the planet at this time. We are here to bring through revolution to this planet. It affects the entire multiverse, what we are doing here. I shared a channeling recently from Spirit that beings on the other side are literally sitting on the edge of their seats, metaphorically, watching what we are doing down here on Earth. What we are doing is affecting the entire multiverse. Yeah, big stuff. Debbie, thank you so much. Really grateful. And yes, amazing that through Facebook, so much effective inspiration from you. Thank you so much, everyone. This experience has really filled my heart and has just gifted me enormously. So I love you. It's bittersweet. That is our day 10, but we'll be together next week as well, I hope. All right, lovelies, have a great weekend. We did 20 days of self-love. What a great self-love practice this has been. So much love to you all. Thank you so much. And I'll see you next week. Mwah.